Welcome to A Belly Full podcast. I'm Tatiana Patton, and I'm the founder of Soul Food Movement, a faith-based apparel brand that is designed to create conversation centered in Christianity and to ultimately encourage people to pursue a real relationship with Jesus Christ. And this podcast is a platform to do just that. Some of the best conversation is found in the kitchen or over a plate of delicious food. So join us as we discuss life, lessons, relationships, and everything in between on this journey as a believer and follower of Jesus Christ. So come on in and get you a belly full. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome to the very first podcast of A Belly Full. And as you already know, my name is Tatiana Patton. And joining me today is going to be, drumroll, my husband, Trevon Patton.
Hey!
He's the one who did this beautiful setup that we have here. He's a media connoisseur. He is the owner of 1201 Studios, which they do things such as this. And they also do live streams and creative content. And I'm doing a very big plug right now.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. But yeah, this podcast, if it had been my choice, it would have been me in my pajamas, you know, with the mic, maybe over there in the corner. But Trevon, it was Trevon's idea really to do this whole thing. And it was with a lot of, what is the word?
Passion?
No.
Faithfulness?
Not coercion. Like when you push somebody to do something.
Persuasiveness?
Persuasiveness, yeah. With a lot of persuasiveness.
Persuasiveness isn't pushing somebody to do it.
Well, I mean, he really brought me along kicking and screaming along the way because I really didn't want to go through this much trouble to do this, but I'm actually very much appreciative of it now. How do you feel about that, Trevon?
I think that...
How was the process for you? How is it to pull someone along who doesn't want to go, but you know what's best?
Well, I don't think I really know what's best. I think when you can see someone's potential, you know what they're capable of. And then you also know what you're willing to do for someone that you love. I mean, it's a no-brainer. If I do this for complete strangers, how much more I'm supposed to do this for someone I love. So all I can do is hope that you would give it a shot, and you will see that what you're going to do in the coming weeks, which you're going to put out there, you're going to see why all of this is why all of it is necessary.
Can I ask you where you got the idea for the concept from? Like, where did it come from?
I felt like I've been seeing these shows, cooking shows and stuff like that. I think it's been embedded in my head pretty much from our dating days.
Well, because I used to watch
I never used to watch cooking shows before I met you. So one of the first shows we watched on one of our date nights was Chef's Table.
Oh man, I forgot about Chef's Table. It's been a long time.
Yeah, Chef's Table, and the cinematography and everything was just it drew me in. It got me off guard. So I took notes. What was it? Nailed it.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
nailed it.
nailed it. So much cooking shows very early on in our in our dating process.
I guess now I'm not as much, well, because we don't have cable anymore. But now it's just a bunch of YouTube channels.
Yeah. Marion's Kitchen,
Marion's Kitchen.
lady with the red lipstick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This other lady, when I'm trying to look up Bahamian recipes, this Milda242, this other lady, something girl, maybe it's Island Girl. All I remember, it's a Gurl. And then occasionally I do watch Bodine's Pot.
Yeah. I would say one thing. You have a knack for finding people. You have a knack, man. You went through vegan people,
Oh, yeah.
gluten-free
Oh yeah,
people.
the girl plant rainbow plant love, something like that.
That's the lady who has the kids show now?
No, that's Tabitha. But Tabitha inspired me to go vegan for 30 days, or for us to go vegan
Man.
for 30 days. And then the Rainbow Plant Life, she just has like some good recipes. Like, because when I look up different recipes, it's like you just can't go with anybody. You got to look at what they're adding and what kind of flavor it's going to be. So I feel like there's certain little things that I look for when I'm watching people, and then I end up watching a bunch of people and then kind of meshing all of those recipes together. But Marion's Kitchen has been thus far, like, if you don't
It's been
have
a mainstay for you. It's been a mainstay. Like, you keep coming back to that.
Yeah,
one.
because she has so many good ideas. And then also, when you try her recipe, even if you don't have all of the ingredients, if you just have something similar and you can substitute it out, it still tastes good. And I don't think I've actually done a recipe of hers having every single thing on there, but everything that I do that's based off of a recipe of hers ends up tasting really, really good. So
Yeah. And you had some people back in the day too that you never went back to. Yeah, you had some people you never went back to. I remember there was some recipes that you felt like you were truly betrayed. You're like
who?
no, this.
I don't
this,
remember.
Yeah,
I remember one that Cupcake Gemma,
I
sorry.
remember a couple.
But
I remember a couple. You felt like this could not taste good, and you were like complaining, like you were depressed. You were like, this is not as good as this person is saying this is, and like I heard about it. I got it for that person.
I remember Cupcake Gemma. I followed her recipe for a cupcake, and she was like, "You have to be an idiot not to make a good cupcake from this recipe." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm an idiot because my cupcakes did not come out good." But I did follow her channel for a cheesecake recipe, but it wasn't her doing it; it was another lady, and so that's why I can't completely write her off. But how to cake it, Yolanda Gamp, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
JD is the one who told me about her.
Ah, well, you know, JD, she find people too. But you don't always go according to the recipe straight out. You like to kind of mix it up, or
Well, I don't always have like all of the ingredients, and then also, like I said, I watch different videos, and then I kind of merge the different things because I know what type of flavor, like I know what things add flavor, and I know if someone's adding flavor or not adding flavor. Like, you know, like if they're like not layering the flavors, then I'm like, where's the flavor coming from? And then they'll be like, oh, it tastes so good, and I'm like, I don't see how that can happen, and I don't have the food to waste to try it. So, yeah, Marion's Kitchen is she has new recipes all the time. Maybe it's because she's mixed with Asian.
really?
And so she incorporates Asian things into her dishes, but they're not always full blown. And her dishes are kind of always a mix. Sometimes she has some like dishes that are, you know, like, I guess, authentic somewhat, like authentic Thai. But for the most part, her dishes are also like a mix up of different things.
Yeah, because she pulled a lot from her mother, right?
Yeah, from her mom.
Yeah, her mother joins the show. It's hilarious.
Yeah, she's good. I mean, her mother is kind of funny. But to the recipe or what not recipe, I'm not doing recipes now. I'm just cooking.
Yeah.
So what is being cooked today is Hainanese chicken, but
Ooh.
I've never I've never had Hainanese chicken like from not me, from not following a recipe on YouTube. So I don't really know what authentic Hainanese chicken is. I can't call it Hainanese. I don't know if I can really say that it's like Hainanese chicken. I don't know if people are gonna say, that's not Hainanese chicken. You didn't do this and you did that. But right now, this is based off of Hainanese chicken. I do know that my chicken was kind of like, it was boiling. It was boiling a little bit too much. You're not supposed to boil the chicken. It's supposed to be like poached. It's supposed to be poached. And I
I'm
just
gonna pretend like I know exactly what that means, though.
It's like cooked.
Like stealing the chicken.
Huh?
Poaching, you poach.
No. True. It's like, I feel like it's cooking this on a very lightly and delicately. But it was boiling because I don't quite mind it boiling either, because not boiling the whole time, but just boiling a little bit, because for some reason, maybe I'm not cooking the chicken long enough, but it's like I got to do a little bit of a hard boil, like a touch-up boil for it at some point, because whenever I cut the chicken open, like I said, that's why this isn't authentic Hainanese chicken. When I start cutting the chicken, then I see that it might not be cooked all the way. So it's like, however it needs to be is what is happening right now.
So what got you attached to this particular meal?
Oh, well, this meal is the meal that I feel like is soul food for me, because the chicken is usually like moist and juicy, but it's still, I don't know, there's still a little bit of a fat factor, especially with the rice and stuff. So it provides the amount of it's like a well-rounded meal. So you get like a garlic chicken rice, and then you have the chicken, which is, like I said, juicy, and then it has a sauce that goes over top of the chicken, and then like you can have something fresh on the side, and then you have the broth, which allows it to go down smoothly and nicely. So it just makes the inside of you feel good, and it's just a complete fulfillment. You feel nice and full. And right now I'm really, really, really hungry, so
yeah, me too.
it's smelling pretty good. And we already prepped a lot of stuff because we're trying to keep this at an hour. Yeah, we can play B-roll or whatever, but we prepped a lot of the stuff beforehand. And right now, basically, my chicken is
Poaching.
it's poaching. It's taking a nice little saltwater bath with some aromatics.
Yes.
Over here.
Yes.
And and we're going to I'm gonna do the rice. But I guess what we're going to talk about today, or I guess touch or poach.
I don't know if that's the correct usage of that word.
Yeah, I don't know either. But it's going to be relationships, or some things, I guess, surrounding very loosely relationships. I was going to talk about how, like, I don't know, our relationship was or got started, but I think with with everything that's going on, at least in the Bahamas, like this week, or within the past few weeks, there's been a lot of like domestic abuse situations that have happened. And it's pretty sad, but I guess my question for you, Trevon, would be, what do you think leads to these types of situations? Like there was the situation where recently where a woman, a young woman, she was shot,
Yeah.
or she was shot. She had just had a baby, 1 month old, and then I think her baby daddy came into her house and I guess shot her, and killed her. And it was, I don't know, it was pretty sad. I ended up going on her Facebook page, and because I guess I just tend to research, or let me not say research. I like to know a full story of certain things, I guess. Anyway, I just saw her Facebook page. I was looking at her Facebook page and reading some of her posts, and it seemed as though, I don't know, it seemed as though she was like maybe done with her relationship. So, I mean, I don't know. I definitely don't know. I didn't know her. So I don't want to, talk on what actually happened. But I guess, why do you think those types of things happen? Or at least, why do you think there's such a surge in domestic abuse right now?
Well, I'm no authority on this, but what I really and truly feel is that you can end up abusing something if you don't understand the value of it. And sometimes we think that we do understand the value of our significant other, or persons we're in a relationship with, but sometimes a lot of relationships that we're actually in are really us trying to find ways to either address our fears or our wants. And some people who can't be alone, some people who need somebody to help them to deal with their fears, when that person seems like they're being taken away from them, or when someone feels like they're being diminished, or they're being they have a fear of being diminished, they resort to some very drastic things, some very drastic things. And we're seeing a whole lot of that sort of thing because people are they're responding in stronger and stronger ways, So,
What do you think that it's like being like, okay, I guess, do you think that it's something that was always there, or is just something that is like being pushed out now because of circumstances?
I think COVID on the whole stressed a lot of people out, and pushed a lot of people together, and a lot of people kind of really had an assessment as to understanding that they couldn't just get what they want and run. They had to deal with the entire person. Some of that allowed some things to come to the surface that a lot of persons usually they don't get the experience, or at least they were able to run from it before. So we've seen a lot of that happen. And then I also believe that a lot of our values and our concern, especially for God, has diminished. A lot of the things that God holds there, we don't hold there anymore. And that curses the land, that bring curses. So when persons could have been in control of themselves a whole lot more, now you're seeing less of that. You're seeing persons now being completely ensnared by their fears or their wants. Somebody feels like, look, the world is going to end if this person leaves them. That's not true. The world is still going to go on.
Do you think that that's how, do you think that when someone like does something like where they kill someone, that it's because they really think that the person is going to leave them? Or it's like, I feel like it's control. Like, so they're like, you think you're in control by leaving me, but I'm in control because I'm going to kill you.
I feel like it's a bit of both. Like there are some persons that are truly narcissists, persons who really want control of the situation. They want to find a way to own somebody, and that's the same thing when I'm talking about value. Um, you saying that you like somebody or you love somebody, but those are just words to allow the conditions to stay the way you'd like it. You want this person to stay in your circle, in your reach. But what you really want is an object that can gratify you sexually or allow you to feel like you're a man. And when that object seems to be dropping out of your orbit, maybe you feel like you're less than a man, or you feel like you're being rejected. Because a lot of persons, they go through some things in their childhood. And you're seeing this manifest now in the type of anger and bitterness that we're seeing in relationships today, when they're not looking at someone as a person. They're not worrying about that person's happiness. They are fully concerned with the fact that they are afraid of being left, or they are afraid of losing control, and they need to do something about it. And now, because persons are not keeping that covering, the covering of God in terms of the stuff we stand for today, is not there. So those demons are able to influence persons in much more drastic ways than we've been seeing.
Even some of, are you getting this? Even some of the ways that they are, like, doing, like the guy who like, did he run the lady over, or did he attempt to run the lady over?
Yeah, I think he
Like
actually ran
even
her over.
the ways that are being done are just kind of like completely crazy. Like beyond, I don't know, it's just like, me, I obviously, like, it's a spirit, some kind of rage or something passing through people, because it's just but then again, we can say that, but then people can be like, this was happening all the time. Like, this has been something that's been happening all the time. This is nothing new.
Because we're seeing it more because of the social media, the video aspect. We're seeing a lot of it.
Yeah, and maybe even more people are on social media now because of the way COVID has things. Like, people would see it who haven't seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who maybe wouldn't see it before. People would see it because everybody's on social media now.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of that. We've had the capability to post things and show things for a bit. I feel like we've had that capability, but I do feel like something is different. Something is different. We've seen from the COVID outbreak a lot of relationships going through turmoil, especially marriages going through a lot of turmoil. And because in my line of work, I'm with a lot of pastors, I'm able to hear about the chaos even ripping through the church. Husbands not used to being in the same space as their wives. They
Not being in the same space?
Yeah, they're not used to being in the same space for so long.
Oh.
They could have run out to their boys if they got a little threatened. They could have had something to do. Had something to do if they felt a bit frustrated. But now you're stuck in the house on lockdown. There's nothing else, nowhere to go, and persons in that relationship haven't learned to give each other breathing room, space, waste time to process. So now things are really getting to the edge. So, yeah, we've been seeing an uptick. They can tell you all over right now there's an uptick. Nobody knows what to do about it. The crisis center, they don't know what to do about it. The police doesn't have the tools. So now we're really seeing this come into maturity right now. Yeah, it's a scary thing because it was bound to happen, because what have we been doing even in strengthening relationships? giving people an understanding of what relationships are really supposed to be about. People don't. People haven't been getting that. They've been kind of saying, "Look, I like this one, or I want to sleep with this one, or this one look good," and that's the decision that they're making to get into a relationship. God has made relationships so special, especially the marriage relationship, because it's an agreement that He's a part of. And what we have done, especially the men, what we have done is we've said, well, we're getting in this relationship because I love this person and I'm going to take care of this person. But really and truly, this relationship is really made to bring the presence of God, almost like what saints do in prayer. We come together, we touch and agree. In marriage, that is really the form of marriage. To come together, to touch and agree. That's really the form of marriage, and you're doing that in a covenant with God. So really, the presence of God is really supposed to be in every aspect of your marriage. And but we don't see it like that. We don't see marriage as that. We see marriage right now as a chore, as a burden. This is something you have to go through. I made this vow. I don't want to be embarrassed. That's what it becomes after the wedding.
Or people, I think it's can be also seen in a sense like selfishly, I guess. Like it's just, this marriage is just to solve or help my loneliness, like so that I'm not by I'm not by myself. It's not necessarily because this is a union to help glorify God.
Right. Exactly. And that goes back to fear. Why are we making decisions? Why are we getting into relationships? And I had a thought about it. A lot of persons, they fall in love with what they don't know. You don't even know this person. You don't even know. You just have this strong feeling and you're making a decision on this feeling. So I think
that also, like, maybe sorry. That was a piece of when I say it, it's gonna be even worse than was.
Jeez.
Chicken skin.
What? That sounds crunchy. That sounds crunchy. That don't sound like chicken skin.
It is. It's the chicken fat that was rendered.
It's like fried chicken. Like fried chicken skin?
Yeah. Well, like the fat, because the chicken skins fat in the oil is like producing a flavor that's mixing with the garlic that's being infused in the rice, basically. But you cook the chicken until all of that, I guess, moisture has gone out of it and it's completely like just dried up and crunchy. So yeah, chicken skin. I told you I was hungry, so
yes.
I couldn't resist.
I mean, you didn't even save one for me.
There's a bunch over there actually. So
yeah, I can wait till a meal.
But
because it's so good. The Hainanese chicken. I think one of the things that I like about it the most is that it's like you can't eat it regularly. I had to learn that. You have to kind of combine everything together in your mouth. I learned that. See, I've been paying attention.
Well, that's how I eat. Because Siobhan's the type of person who eats like things separately, and I have to eat them all together. Okay. I feel like it's because I'm mixed. Veggies.
Really?
Yeah, that plays a lot in everything. Like everything has to be. I got to taste it all at once. I don't just eat one side. See, you're all black, so you just eat all of one thing at once.
I'm not.
And I'm mixed, so I eat everything, a little bit of everything at once.
Most black people got a little bit of some other thing inside their ancestry right now, just because of how we got it.
Yeah, but they don't see that. They see that as they're just black.
Really. In any case.
But what I was gonna say was that not only like I feel like it also, you can maybe with the way people view, I don't even just say people view society, because the way society is maybe they feel maybe sometimes people might feel like they're not, like, not to say they're less of a person, but maybe they haven't reached a certain place because they're not married, because it's like, it seems as though the goals of life is to, get married and have kids and, repeat. And so people who maybe haven't got married, maybe they feel like they're losing something, or they're missing out on something because they're not married, which is not true. Which is why they may, especially when you get, I guess, older, people might feel like, oh, the clock is ticking. I'm not married. You can only bear kids up to a certain age, and maybe they might feel like they're missing out or whatever. And so maybe they end up getting into a relationship with someone who, like, my biggest question is, when people get into relationships, is like, is God a part of this relationship? And if God is not a part of that relationship, then I don't know, I guess, I don't know what exactly the purpose of the relationship is, or because from my personal experience, the reason why I came to God is that I felt like just me trying to do it on my own, it just was not working out. So it's like, if I try to get into a relationship without you, it's just going to fail anyways. And maybe that's just how God had it with me. It's just like trying to do things and nothing would work.
But I mean,
So
when
it's
we
like,
think
why
about
even
it,
try?
we don't think about relationships in God unless we think about, hey, Lord, get me this person, or Lord, allow us to get married, allow us to have a big wedding, allow us to have kids, allow us to have. So it's a constant give me, give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. But in terms of the actual makeup of the relationship, in terms of the value of the relationship, in terms of the engagement, God isn't really, we don't really think about God. We don't even think about God when it even comes to intimacy. So it's a bit difficult, especially if you don't bring God into your own life, to bring God into a relationship.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So do you feel like the lack of God, the lack of people wanting God is what's leading to all of these things? Well, in the Bible, that's when people wanted things other than God, calamity hit.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. We have a problem because we kind of think that we're gonna outsmart God. We're gonna get God to be in the parts of our lives where we want Him, and then the other parts that we don't want Him, we can keep Him out, and we feel as though He isn't relevant to certain things. He's relevant to everything.
Yeah.
And the thing is whatever you put most of your time in, whatever you invest the most and sacrifice the most, and that's what you worship. So a lot of us have been worshiping relationships, the idea of a relationship. You don't even know this person, but you worship that relationship. You'll do anything for this person, but you just got in a relationship like yesterday.
Yeah, and then how would God feel
when He's been around
about that,
all
right?
this time,
When he's only
protecting
been
you.
like helping you, been there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Who's there even when you don't acknowledge him? Like, I mean, even when you decide to go, when you decide to choose everything else but him.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that's the boy, that's something, huh? That's the kicker.
Yep.
Is that in real life, in life, or not real life, my bad, not real life, because this is not fake life, but in life, even with relationships, you don't know every single thought that somebody is thinking. Like when it comes to love and unconditional love, I mean, my whole perception of my whole understanding, let's say, of what love is because is the rough and the hard moments, choosing to be there regardless. That is what love is. Like, love is not just the pretty things and the nice and, oh, I'm gonna kiss you and what is it, PDA, you know, doing all of that. That's easy. But when you decide to be there when something is hard, that's what love, that's when it's really love. And that to me is the reflection of God's love. If you see God as love, that's a reflection of love, because God is there. He's there. He chooses to be with us, or to not chooses to be with us. He wants us, regardless of how much, like regardless of where our minds are, how much we've strayed from him, how much we've wronged him, how much he has a reason to completely disassociate with us. He wants us because he loves us, and it's not the easy love. That's a hard thing, choosing to be with someone when they're at their worst point. And that's not just, oh, because they're sick. It's like they're not a good person. Because we're not always going to be good people. But what I was going to say, or what was kind of crazy with the thought that just came to mind, was that even in relationships, even when you choose to be there with somebody or be there for someone at their worst point, you don't know their every thought. Like, you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what's in their mind. Thank God. You know, but God knows everything, every single thing that we think, and he still wants us to want him. And that's all, is he wants us to want to be with him, to want him as much as we want all of these other superficial things that cannot provide the fulfillment that he actually brings.
That's so true. And that's something we really don't consider. And the thing is I have to admit that in my past, relationships became an idol. Me wanting to be the right man for someone became an idol. Like, became what I studied, became what I tried to do, became what I sacrificed for. And God only asks for certain things from us, and we feel like it's just so much to give it to him, you know. But it is that same God that you got to come back to when the relationship going south.
Yeah.
It's that same God that you're coming back to, and it's like it feels so bad that you've been so unfaithful, and you're coming back to God. That's really why we have to really think about what our relationship with God truly is. You know, are we someone just consistently begging God for things, but we really don't want to have anything to do with him outside of begging? Or are we truly wanting to find some intimacy with him? Do we really love God? Do we really like him?
Yeah.
You know, do we really like him?
Do we treat him like how we treat these people? Sorry. Excuse me, sorry. How we treat the people that we're in relationships with.
Yeah.
That was
Exactly.
something that I felt that's something that I felt over, you know, I guess the past year or so, when it comes to relationships, is, do we even treat God like how we treat people in these relationships? And do we even know how to have healthy relationships?
That's true.
Because
That's where it starts. We can't really give someone something that we don't have. You know, it's just like I'm asking you to give me some water from an empty pitcher. You know? So if you don't have that within you, you're going to be giving some sort of fake form of that that's going to break down at the end. Time is going to show you that that's not really that stuff. You know, that's, you know, you have somebody sweet at the beginning of the relationship, but that person is willing to run a car over you. That person is willing to beat you with your baby in your hand. That person is willing to cheat on you with multiple persons. That person is so taken over by their demons, by their desires, that they can't control themselves. They're saying that they love you, but they literally can't stop hurting you.
Yeah.
And that's really because of what they've sold themselves out to. They've sold themselves out to their desires and their wants. The Bible says we're ensnared by our desires. People always say, that's the devil, it's the devil, it's the devil. No, it starts from your desires. And the enemy convinces you that that's the way you should go. And that's how that's how the world is heading right now. Let me just go to what I feel and what I desire. And you're not able to understand the power and the authority that God gives you in understanding true love through Him, and then being able to experience that love in connection with someone else.
And even where their desires come from.
Exactly.
Because if you're desiring God, then that's not a bad thing, chasing your desires.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to desiring things that are not Him, that's where it can lead to, I guess, idolizing things.
Yeah.
Which can also lead to disaster.
Mm-hmm. And you have this spoon on this pot there. What's the reason for that?
Well, right now, because I don't have any other place to put this spoon. Yeah. Not because of the boiling thing. Like, I know that it can be, they say if you put the spoon over top of the pot, then it will prevent it from boiling over. But this doesn't even have enough to really boil it over. But Tiffany Buckner, who has Anointed Fire on YouTube, shameless plug, she says, well, I guess she's been regarding in marriages, but I'm assuming like also in these relationships and stuff, the things that you're battling with, like with your significant other is like how God is feeling, like what you're feeling about your significant other is what God is feeling about you, type of thing. Mm-hmm. Like if you are to so if you're in a relationship with this guy, mm-hmm. and the guy is cheating on you on multiple people, is probably because you're chasing this relationship with this guy, mm-hmm. and not chasing God. Mm-hmm. So like as the guy is cheating on you, you are cheating on God with this guy. Mm-hmm. Even I see it in like, so she was saying like that it's like that with marriage. But even I sometimes think about it with your children, mm-hmm. like with the things that you have to discipline your children on are these the things that God is trying to discipline you on? Like, for instance, with Nazi, if I'm like, Nazi, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, Nazi, don't do that, Nazi, mm-hmm. and Nazi still goes right ahead and does it. And if he's perpetually doing this, I'm wondering if this is how God is feeling about me.
Man, I know that's
when
me.
when God is saying,
me.
don't do that, Tatiana, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, and then you do it.
I know that's me. Sometimes I just have to praise God because I know that children are very dear to Him, and I also know that He considers us His children. And just how our children can test us, we do the same thing with God. And that's the beauty of being able to see God in everything. And you're able to understand Him a little bit better.
Yeah.
You're able to understand Him a little bit better. I also feel too, when it comes to something else that you said, even in our relationship, how I used to approach things. I don't approach things anymore because I approach things with an understanding that you're not just a child of God, but you're literally God's child. He cares about you so much. I can't just come and do anything in the front of you and not think that God won't take exception to that. And many times I'm reprimanded and I just have to be quiet because I could literally feel Him, and I have to know that boom, it's not for me. It's not for me to try to defend myself or to try to argue or to try to support any sort of ego.
Yeah.
If any one of us loses, we all lose.
Yeah.
And I have to treat you the way how I feel God wants me to treat you.
Yeah, and even how, like, and for me especially, like, one of my biggest things is my attitude in my mouth. And that is what is such a trying thing. Not a trying thing, let me see. That is one of the most tedious lessons that I've been learning. How to control your mouth and communication. And I have not at all mastered it. Because even like for me, I can feel or hear, I don't want to say hear God speaking to me. I have not heard Him audibly speak to me. It more comes through as like thoughts, and very strong thoughts. And so it's like before I may have carried on in a particular way, I guess to get my point across. But now I think a lot of the times I don't say what I'm feeling, I guess. And I don't know if this is the right way. I don't know if I'm doing it correctly yet. But with me, and I feel like with what God is putting me through, is a process of, I guess, just not always saying what I feel. And I've said things sometimes to you where I know that it could have hurt. Like it hurt or not could have. It hurt your feelings, or it could have hurt you. Because of, even when I thought about it, like after I said some things, sometimes it'll be like, dang, if he said that to me, that would have completely devastated me. So I know that had to have hurt, his feelings. And then knowing that I hurt your feelings is even a worse feeling, because then you can't take back words. You can't take it back. Once you say it, it's said, it's out there. You can't take it back. So for me, it's been like a process of God being like, look, for me, my mouth, there was this book that I did not finish reading. That was a part of a small group called Keep It Shut. Mm-hmm. But in a way, it's kind of like God fighting my battles for me, or allowing God to kind of, I don't want to say fight my battles for me per se, because not in a sense where I'm fighting against you. Maybe it's me fighting the self-righteousness within me, or fighting whatever demon is trying to tell me to just go and mouth off or say, justify why I feel the way that I feel, which gives me the right to say whatever I want to say. Mm-hmm. But it's allowing God to work it out, or trusting that He can work it out. Mm-hmm. And I guess the only thing with that, and that's why it's not like I'm saying that this is the strategy or the way that you're supposed to do it. I'm just saying that this is what I feel like the process that God is putting me through, mm-hmm. because I am, because of what I guess I battle with. Mm-hmm. And so my only thing now is trying to find out, okay, when do I say something? What do I say? How do I say it? And I think that maybe I'll get to that part later. I feel like just sometimes, like now, it's just like you keep it shut until you've worked out being able to, I guess, die to the feeling of having to say my part or whatever. And then
Yeah.
maybe we'll get into, after that, then I'll get into the level of how to communicate properly, because it's not even just empathy, because sometimes I feel like more so now I can realize now when I'm like having empathy, or in a real sense just treating people how you want to be treated. Like, like, Tatiana, is that necessary for you to have that attitude? Is it necessary for you to act like that? Do you want somebody to treat you that way? I guess all of those things just play a role in relationships, and especially in a relationship that God is in.
But that's the good thing about relationships that God is actually in, because you're not doing it on your own strength. You're being advised.
Yeah, which makes it a lot harder for me to conceive or understand how relationships outside of God can actually, like, how they work, or how they can be successful, because like God is not in it. And who are you talking to? Like, if even if you're talking to God, right? But if your significant other is not talking to God, how is God communicating to him? If he's not listening, or if he's choosing to, excuse me, not adhere to or not be obedient to what God is telling him to do.
And there's some things that your flesh is not going to allow you to do that will truly give you the victory. I feel with so much conviction that God has truly given us the victory, but we have to trust him. And the only way to really trust him is to be able to hear him. And if he's not in your relationship, you're not going to be able to hear him. One of the things, and I don't know if you know this, but one of the things that God tells me to do, when I feel as though I want something from you, or I feel as though I am being hurt in some way, not that you're intending to hurt me or anything like that. I'm being hurt. My flesh is hurt. My ego is hurt. God pretty much instructs me to turn the other cheek in a sort of way, or go the extra mile. So if I feel like being loved, he presses me to try to find ways to communicate love to you in a way that you would appreciate.
Yeah, I think so.
Even in me being offended, I have to go this way. And it is painful, it is a cross, but it's a cross that we have to look forward to, because we understand that there's victory in the cross. We understand that there's victory in the cross. So if we understand that there's victory in the cross, why do we always run away when God wants us to do certain things? So that's what I do. I try to find something that I can do that would, even if there was a knife in me, I'll dig the knife in even deeper. I will completely kill myself to whatever that is offending me. Say, okay, this is the thing that's making me mad. This is the demon that is trying to oppress me and trying to convince me to be against my wife. Okay, so if she says, or she doesn't speak to me, then I'll pray for her more. If she doesn't want to be affectionate with me, I will be affectionate with her still. You can't defeat me in that way, because that is my partner. That is my wife. No matter what she do to me, that is not going to control how I love her. That is dependent on God. So that's where I draw my strength. Somebody who does not have God, what do you have? what do you have to depend on when things get tough?
Yeah. It's a question because I don't know. I don't know.
And it's a struggle daily, but I think the enemy is going to test you, and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's going to test you based
going
on
to
what
test you.
what he could test you on. But if that's not a test anymore, if that's just showing more of God's glory, I don't think you're going to be getting too much of that. The enemy does not want to prove God right.
That's true.
So
I mean, when you think that, because my reaction is always like, I'd be afraid to do certain things sometimes because I don't know. I guess, yeah, that's just fear of what the enemy is gonna bring. Like, I don't know, even saying certain things, like I don't be wanting to say things because I don't know what the enemy's gonna try to do. But yeah, I guess killing yourself to that, or also more so making that be a standpoint in which God is glorified will definitely make him back a bit.
oh yeah, he's gonna back off. And I mean, the thing is that earlier in my life, even though I confessed Christ, a lot of the testimonies of God are following me today. Like I could see it. I proved it. I've seen it. I've seen turning the other cheek. I've seen persons who have done me wrong, or persons who have taken money from me, are now returning it back. Glory be to God. And now I've seen persons who would have offended me, and I not just said, okay, I'm not gonna lie, it hurt me no more. No, I put myself back out there to you to hurt me, and I've seen those persons come and right now support my family and supporting and investing in my child. I've seen God do it His way, because the thing is His way is only victory.
Yeah.
It's only victory, and we're so caught up in our fears of the unknown, because we want to hold on,
Or control.
yeah, we want control of it, like Nazi. He may want to walk on his own, or he want to grab something on his own. It's so much easier for us to just kind of pass that down to him. But if he trusts us to do it, he can get it. But if he kicks and screams and tries to climb on top of a table, he could end up hurting himself. And that's the same way that we do all the time.
Yeah.
We don't really trust God. We say we trust God, and we say we love God, but those two things, when we have the opportunity to really prove God, we don't want to do that. No.
And a lot of the times, well, like, hold on, sorry. Having a child has really taught me a lot. It has made me, let me just say, see things in a different viewpoint, or see things from a different viewpoint, or given me a lot more perspective, because it's like you just look at just the way that you love your child and want the best for your child, and you're constantly, telling your child what to do, what not to do. But when you're telling your child what not to do, or not to do something, it's because you're trying to protect them from something that's harmful. And they don't see it, and they don't know it, because they only have a certain viewpoint. They only have a viewpoint from their experience. But because they're a child, because they're a baby, their viewpoint is very is very limited. They don't really know what you're trying to shelter them from or protect them from. And so you try your best to guard them and be like, but it's always because you love them and protect them, or you're trying to protect them. And that's what makes me feel like how God is with us. He's trying to protect us a lot of the time, or being like, you don't need that. That's not good for you. Everything that you do for your child is like in hopes to help them, be just to help them be better, I guess.
Right. And I think as well, just how we give our children time to learn certain things or understand the reasons why so that they can appreciate it. I think God does the same thing with us. He allows us to date someone because we kick and scream for that. And we beg him and we say, look, we're going to go on a fast and we'll serve you the rest of our life. And he knows that that's not the truth, but he wants you to be able to see and judge yourself. And I think we have to do that more often. We have to judge ourselves, lest we be judged. We have to understand what is the real reason why we're serving God? What's the real reason why we're in this relationship? What's truly driving this relationship? And really get honest with ourselves.
Yep. I completely agree.
But one of the power of being in a relationship and being in a marriage that is truly led by God is your ability to agree. And I would even bring up when you're still pregnant with Nazi, and we used to go to the clinic. That was a big thing. We were there very upset. Like, man, this is taking so long. Look at the conditions. Look at the people. Look at all the stuff that is going wrong.
Yeah.
But until we said, look, maybe we're here for a different reason. Maybe we're here to pray for these persons. These are a lot of lives that are coming into the world.
Yeah.
And we are the persons that truly believe in God. Maybe we're here for a different reason.
Yeah,
so we started to intercede and pray for persons who are there. And after we finish praying, just like that, the name will get called. Sometimes we'll hold hands and say, guess what? All right, we're finished. Now we're praying that they'll call your name and they'll call your name. Because it's not just about you, me doing something right, or you doing something right, you fulfilling my needs or I fulfilling your needs. It's about what we are as one in the eyes of God, and being able to, through our agreement, cast down strongholds, bring things into alignment, bring blessings into territories. It's being able to send generations of priesthood forward into the earth.
It's allowing God to use us. Mm-hmm. Actually making yourself a vessel or available to allow God to use you. Like, in those instances, it's easy. I mean, what did you say earlier? Something about what's not easy is worth pushing through or something?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
The thing that's not easy is worth fighting for.
Right. So the thing that's not easy is worth fighting for. And so when we're in these situations, because when you're looking at it, I feel like through that, realizing that everything is spiritual, dealing with spiritual warfare. So when you're feeling these things, it's like, if you're put in I feel like it's important to understand, not understand, but put into perspective sometimes why we are in the situations that we're in, like why we're in the families that we're in, why we're in the relationships that we're in, why do we have the friends that we have. Like, when I go to God, I want to be able to be like, and I just don't know. I don't know if I'm doing everything, to be honest with you. I'll be afraid, like, Lord, oh gosh, when I see you, I just feel like he might be like, did you pray for this person? Did you do this? I put you here. I sent you here. You didn't do this. All you did was you complained about where you were at because you just think that everything is about you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, of course, if God is sending you somewhere to pray for someone, the biggest thing that the enemy is going to do is to try to distract you from that, and to completely take your mind off of that, and in that sense make it about you. Yeah. Which is what is the kind of like the case with when we were at the clinic, because I'm pregnant. Number one, I was pregnant, so I was ready to be out of there. So I'm ready to be out of there. It's hot, there's a bunch of people around. It's COVID. I'm trying I just want to be done, because he kind of herd you in like cattle. And so, anyways, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be out of there. I'm not thinking, because of all of these outer things, I'm not thinking about, inwardly, spiritually, what I'm really supposed to be there for. So it's like almost even a cue sometimes when you feel things like so strongly outwardly, it's kind of like a question as what you're supposed to be doing, what you're actually supposed to be doing inwardly.
Right.
Because a lot of the times it is, there's another purpose, like with, like how we were saying before, like with relationships, with friendships, with stuff like that, like with, let's say with friends, when you feel like, or with relationships, let's say with people, when you feel like giving up or letting go of friendships or whatever, it's like a lot of the times that's because you're actually meant to be there to pray for that person, to be there for that person, and to pray for that person, to cover that person during that period of time when everything might be, making you just want to forget it or leave it. Now, I'm not saying that for a relationship that you ain't supposed to be in. But I mean, when everything is pulling you away, it's like, I guess you got to push to, for us in our position, push to the point where God is going to get the glory in that situation or
And
relationship.
where our flesh is crucified in the midst. Because there's always glory in the crucifixion of the flesh. There's always resurrection power. There's always victory in the crucifixion of the flesh. So if you're able to use every opportunity that the enemy is sending at you, and sometimes, look, you're going to be challenged. It's a trial for a reason. It's a test for a reason. Sometimes we're going to get challenged. Sometimes it's going to allow us to understand what is still in us. The impurities that are still in us are going to come to the surface, and we're going to be able to see it. And God is allowing us to see it so that we can cast it down, so we can get rid of it. So once it comes up to the surface, we get rid of it. But sooner or later, if we continue to welcome being challenged in this way, we're going to overcome. And that's why he calls us to endurance. But we have to be willing to say, look, if we get in a situation where we're in a disagreement, this is my opportunity to find a way to show you how much I love you, even in the midst of this. This is an opportunity for us to say, look, I don't know what's wrong. We're feeling like this. Let's pray. That's a hard thing for us usually to do because we're so upset and we really want to get our point across. But that is the most powerful thing that you can do. Because now you're showing God that, look, no matter how you feel, you trust him to work it out.
Yep. And that looks like it is a great place to close. I think we're probably over an hour, a little bit, but hey, it's the first episode, so I think we can get a little bit of grace. It wasn't for no reason. I mean, I think it was a good conversation. What do you think, Trevon?
I think so. I think it was a good conversation as well.
It's good because we tried to do this before and it was rough.
I know.
But that should just tell you, once again, when you let God,
but endurance. Endurance. Sometimes we feel like it just needs to be perfect. It needs to be right the first time, but God does things in a way for a reason. So we let him give the increase, and glory be to God.
Yeah. So this is the final dish. I guess I should go back a little bit. Sorry, trying to focus it. This is the final dish, and this is here. And I usually like to put a little spoon here. Maybe I should put it this way. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like a fish kind of. Anyway, so yeah. This is the chicken. It's definitely overcooked, just letting you know. Definitely overcooked, I can tell. And then this is some cucumber. This is a sauce that I made. It's like I usually go for, now with what I've seen with the Hainanese chicken, they do a bunch of different sauces. I don't have the energy to be doing all of them sauces and only to like one. Like I usually like a nice spicy sweet sauce that I can dip the chicken in. So I just tend to do whatever kind of spicy sweet concoction combination that I can do. And then this here is the chicken broth. And it's actually looking pretty clear, so it's gonna be good for the pictures. But yeah, that is the chicken. That is the conversation. Say thank you to my special guest, Mr. Patton, as referred to through, students. But that was, it was good. I hope that it could have helped or fulfilled you in any kind of way. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. See or hear you guys. We won't hear you, but you'll hear us. Maybe not us, but me at least. Yeah. So until next time, I don't really know what the closing of this is going to be, but yeah. Much love. I guess grace and peace. That's what I hear a lot of the the Christian influencers say. Even though yeah. So yeah. See you guys next time. So I was supposed to try this like with my outro, but I didn't. But you're gonna see me try it now. So yeah, do the overhead now. So here's the rice. Rice is good. It was cooked with the chicken fat and the garlic, so it has that good garlicky flavor. Cucumber tastes like a cucumber. The chicken gotta dip it in the sauce, and then normally I like to get the rice because it makes the chicken come out more in the rice, the flavor. And then you have the broth. Yeah. Which just makes everything go down a lot nicer. Now, what I don't see people do is add salt, but I'd be adding salt. Because why not? Like, why not flavor it a little bit more? I think that they try to make it so that it's like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like Asian people, not putting sugar in tea. I don't know. Just, not overdoing it, but I like flavor. I'm not trying to overdo it, but yeah, the warm broth really lets it go down. Like Mary Poppins makes the medicine go down. Yum. So yeah, that's the end of it now. See you guys later because I'm gonna finish this well-earned meal.